Welcome to the Build and Learn series, your go-to series for mastering SolidWorks while building with Lego. In this lesson, we're taking it up a notch with some of the tools that we're using to create our geometry. We're going to use one of the existing configurations we've already created. Then we're going to modify that part by splitting it, shifting some of the bodies to different levels, and then rejoining them to create one single part. Later in the lesson, we'll also assemble this part, create a duplicate of that part in that assembly, and add some more parts as we start to build out our off-road buggy. Let's go. Bracket 5x2x1, 1/3 with 2 hole and bottom tube. What a name for a part. Is that its official name? Well, the name's going to do it for me. That's fine. That is fine. Let's see, the part kind of matches the CAD. It's pretty close. It kind of matches the preview. It's missing a few details, but not bad. Let's build it. Let's start with a plate and let's save a copy and open. And we're going to call it 5x2x1. Bracket 5x2x1. 1 2 holes and bottom tube. We'll just give it that name and save as copy and open. We won't be able to do that by 1 1/3. Can't do a slant. Now, this part is it's 5 across. So why don't we start with that? Because I think it's going to give us our length. So if we go to profile, 2x5, and let's just measure the width. Yeah, the length, about 39.5, 40.16. Try again. Mine's a little bit smaller than that, but I think it's going to be okay. I think it makes sense to keep it, so we will. Now let's remind ourselves where our right plane is. All right, that can be our lower section. Okay, so it passes through that point. Now the shell for this will be interesting, or the process of getting to where we need. Now in this example, I am going to delete the 2x1 configuration, and I'm going to delete most of the other configurations as well. And here's a trick: if you want your current version to become the default configuration, you can actually just delete default and rename it. Like if I go to default here, you can see half the stuff is turned off. But if I go to 2x5 and then I delete default and add a new configuration and name it default, then this is now my new default. Cool. So how do we want to do it? I think we kind of want to get to the shell point, which is here, because it's worthwhile. We don't necessarily want all the holes. The holes are going to change, these two in particular. But what we can do here on this linear pattern is we can select these two instances to skip. All right, so that works. And then I'm going to suggest we do a split feature. So what I'm going to do is find the midpoint between these two, which is going to be this line here. And at this point, there's actually 2 points we're going to do. This one, we're going to mirror this one around here. We're going to split this one solid body into 3, like so. Now, the reason we're doing that is because we're going to duplicate and move up. We're going to duplicate the middle body and then move it up with those two on the right and then merge them all together. Sound easy? Yeah. So let's do it that way. We're going to duplicate this middle body. So I'm just going to move copy body and select copy and not put any translate or rotation in. And all it does is make a copy of that body right here. All right. So I'm hiding the original. And now these 3 on the right, I'm going to move them. So I'm going to use the same tool, move copy body. I'm going to uncheck copy. This time I'm going to translate them and I'm going to move them up. And the distance I'm going to move them up is the distance that is the difference between this top face and this top face. So I'm going to measure that. I'm going to attempt to measure that. Alternatively, you could do it on the bottom face if it's easier. I think it'll be the same dimension. We'll check in a second. So on the bottom face, it's about 10, right on 10. Same on the top. All right, so it's going up 10 millimeters. So we put in Y, 10. Now let's show that original. And there you can see our bodies. And so now there's no pin in the middle there, so that's fine. So we're going to do a few interesting things. First off, we are going to do a new wall thickness that goes all around this one. So I'm going to select these faces. I'm going to draw a rectangle. I'm going to draw another rectangle. And we're going to make sure that the distance between here and here is the same as the distance between here and here. And the way we're going to do that is with two construction lines that are equal in length. And then we're going to make sure that this one is in the middle, so that all four sides are the same. And now this extrude is going to come all the way up to this surface. But there's some other stuff we want to do as well. But we will do that with the same contour. So I'm going to go merge, leave that as merge result, and that joins both all sections together. So we're back to one solid part. Now I'm going to use that same sketch. I'm going to use the internal contour, and I'm going to do a cut that goes through all. There we go. As you can see on that one, it's actually hollow. Here, it's got a pin with a thin rib. So let's put that little pin and rib detail into circle with about 3 millimeters, and it is in the middle of this part and in line with the origin. Now the ribs don't go all the way to the top, so we'll do them separately. This one will be an extrude, come up to this surface. And the next one, the ribs, for this I'm just going to draw a single line. Then I'm going to estimate how far off it is from the top and how thick it is. As I can't measure, it's too small. Now I'm going to leave it as a single line, which means I'm going to do a thin feature sketch. So I'm going to go offset from surface about 2 millimeters, and I'm going to make it about 1 millimeter thick. Okay. Well, it's probably a bit less than that. It's 0.8. Okay. Now, a couple of features to add on this. There is some holes. Now, those holes are the insides of these. Okay. 5.12. It measures a little bit smaller. What I've got here is close to 4.8 on mine. And the outside of that one, if I try and measure that, 6.2, 6.7. All right, so these appear to be a bit smaller. So we're going to change those on this one. So if we make that 6.2, what is the size of the inner hole, I wonder? 0.6. Let's go a little bit bigger. Let's change that to 6.4, 4.8, 0.8. That looks pretty good. What's going to change is see if we can do it with a move face. Sometimes you can, sometimes it doesn't like to do it anymore. We're going to do a sketch on this plane. I'm going to select this face and this face, convert entities, and do a cut extrude that goes through all to create those two holes. You can see we've got a bit of a problem that these holes don't match. Maybe this stems back to our very original sketch. They should be in the center, but they're not. So let's actually just go back to this. We'll have a look at, say, 2x4. Have a look at the bottom. You can see our whole pattern isn't keeping up this way here. It's not keeping up with where they should be, because the difference between these is actually, so it's more, 8.12. That's this dimension here. Should this go back to 7.9 with everything else? I think yes. And this one, 7.9, it could be causing ourselves a few issues, because that's our 4 slot, 31.6, 31.9, because we're not allowing for the clearance. Yeah, it's 31.9. Okay, so we need to adjust. If that's going to be 8.12, could be fair enough. Should be 8.12 as well. I think that's all it needs. I think that makes sense. So this here, 8.12, and now that should be central. Let's get going. So we've got most of the details done now. We've got the holes, got all the pins. There's a couple of little ribs left. So those ribs I'm talking about are here and here. There is also a little fillet there we can see. It looks actually like a chamfer in the real model. You see these fillets on those corners? That is quite interesting. Let's put them in. We need to do these ribs first. So there is a rib that goes through the middle of this. We will go from that face, and from that face, we're going to go to a thickness of 1.1. While we're doing it, we'll do these other ones, which are in line with these holes. So more, got another one here, and I can mirror this about this. That can say for construction. This rib, I'm going to guess so small. I'm going to guess that comes out about 2. All right. Now these are all going to be thin features. They're going to be blind. Actually, they're going to be up to this surface, and they're going to be mid-plane 1. All right. And we have a same ribs on the top one here. So again, I'll do a line from here, and I'm splitting that line. All right, so this part is for construction, mid-plane, up to surface, up to this one. All right, and then we want to adding those fillets at the bottom. Very small, probably material flow type thing. Just on that edge, maybe it's 0.8. Okay, another part, done. Let's see how that assembles. It sits over the top. So we'll take it into our assembly, insert this one here, and let's use some mates, get it in place. There we go. How does it fit? It looks wrong. That's the first thing. And these are also out of whack. So we'll need to make some adjustments. All right, I need to fix this. What is the problem here? So if we roll up and just look at these parts, these appear to be okay. They are the same configuration, so shouldn't be any problems. This one also okay. Plate modified with pinhole and mirror. How do these ones work? They are okay as well. Cool, no problem. So now it's this bracket. Let's see if we can work it out in context. So we're going to actually, in the assembly, we are editing this one, but I still want to see through it because I want to see the alignment. So I've just changed the body to transparent, and now I can just roll back and make the body transparent again. Now the body's at the bottom at the moment, so that doesn't necessarily help me. I really have to wait until it's up here to be able to make that any judgment. But we can see that the gap is off. This now it's at the other end as well. So 7.9s plus am I using that 0.15 there? 8.12. This is where I think it doesn't work. So if I change all these to 7.9, then it lines up. And I think that's the way to go. Everything then still works, stays in line. I think that's our magic number that we keep with. It does mean that we don't really have any clearance, but we don't really need any either. Now the difference between these two as well is 0.4. So that's coming down to this moving up. This one here, sorry. So it's just going to bring that down, and that puts that up the same height. All right, so that's a much better result, and I think we can continue on. So where's our parts here? Snap that next one on, and looking good. What is next? Okay, a long part going on the bottom. So that is just going to be an assembly step. So we come back in here. We're going to grab this 2x product, 2x part, go 2x8, and we're going to make that, I think it's to the lower face. Yep. So we drop this one onto the top face there. Side face there, we can line up those. Is a very easy step to do. Cool. Next, a 3 plate underneath. Okay, another simple one. Let's drop this down, 2x3. And once again, we can use our mates. Now, I could do, can we insert a mate here? I think that'll work. When then lined up something going on with this. So I'm not going to do that. Instead, I'm going to select that top one. You select that bottom one. So we concentric. Like that, and then I assemble these. You should have all the parts here. I'm missing one. 3-piece black. Yes. It's a bit hard to see in the light. That comes in on the bottom. There is a little bit of a gap there. It actually looks pretty good. Another step done. And we've got another one of these added onto the other end. So we're going to grab that configuration. So we're going to grab that component. I'm going to use a lot of the same mates. I'm going to flip this one, move those over there. Yeah, works good. And now we get our first solid block. All right. Hey, thanks for watching all the way to the end. Really appreciate that. This has been the LEGO Build and Learn series by Fully Defined. If the next video has been released, it'll be on the top link to your right. Please hit the thumbs up and subscribe, and leave a comment below with what you'd like to see next. Your feedback is what motivates me to provide more content. See you in the next one.